Uh, there's a long list, and that's why I'm going to request my Dr. friends to highlight some of their experiences in the practice of SahajaYoga vis-a-vis their medical science experiences are concerned. But one person I'm going to request now is a unique person by himself. A person born in Ukraine, brought up in Australia, practiced for quite some time in the UK, and last few years has made Russia as his home, thanks to Sri Mataji, and a very dedicated Sahajayogi who has done a lot in the field of medicine in his own way, but he is normally very silent. I hope I can persuade him to use the normal parlance language, otherwise normally he speaks the language of vibrations, which all of us will be doing shortly in this world, because that's the only language which shall remain. And I am now talking about Dr. Bogdan, and I'm going to request him, without saying anything more about him, to specifically give us the benefit of his experience in Russia. Dr. Bogdan.
The armies of Hitler, after having suffered and endured a lot, they then massed and with tens of thousands of tanks and other armaments threw them back. This is at this war level. Now what we have is a spiritual revolution. As you know, they are quite prone to revolutions. So we hope this will be the last, the final revolution of emancipation, of spiritual emancipation. And Sri Mataji is the driving force behind this. She is the reactor, the atomic reactor of divine vibrations, of unlimited love. And I hope that the doctors here may at some point feel that and touch that in their practice if they take it up of SahajaYoga. Britain, and they are selling there. So her monetary status, so if you like, has improved as well. Family is now blessed this way as well. I would just like to, there are of course cases of paralysis. People have come up, taken their realization. One lady who was chair-ridden in Kiev, paraplegic, as soon as she got the realization in front of the photograph of Sri Mataji, she was able to get up. She was walking. She was put on crutches for 2 months, sticks for another 2 months, and now she's walking absolutely well without need of any even walking stick. This is another case that's quite spectacular to see this happen on the first day. Of course, to describe her, she just had tears of joy when she could actually stand up in the program in Kiev. I'd just like to tell you a little bit about possibly the first case that I ever treated medically. In fact, it was in another place, and it was a case of asthma, severe asthma. A lady came to me in deep cyanosis. I don't know, because she was living just across the road, somehow she made it. Immediately, when doctors see this, they think, you know, what you can do, or this is a 999 ambulance in so many minutes and should be in the hospital with drips and everything. This was a dangerous case to hang on to. But I'd just had the realization for some short time, and I thought, let's try it. And so I sat her down, worked on her chakras. In this case, her right and center heart was quite caught up. This can all be explained to you subsequently. And she started to pink up. Within 2 or 3 minutes, she started to pink up. Her breathing relaxed. And within about 15 minutes, the severe attack was over. I suggested that she continue with SahajaYoga. She meditate. And slowly she was able to get rid of all the tablets. She was, by the way, steroid dependent. Another case, prostatitis, was prostatism and a chronic prostatitis. Actually, the urologist did not actually make a concrete diagnosis, you might say. This man was suffering constant pain in the prostatic area. No matter what happened, he'd been to about 11 or 12 urologists. He'd had his TURs, cystoscopies, dilatations, TURs, and he was still in pain. So having seen him for the first time, I examined him. I wanted him to have the very best urologist, and examined him fully, including a PR for rectum examination. What happened then was that the index finger got extremely hot, and I got a little worried. See, this is quite uncharacteristic. So I immediately ran to the basin, wash basin, and poured a lot of water on it, and just massaged all this out of my hand. I then wrote a referring letter to the urologist and put down everything that was required, and of course you forget them because you have so many patients as well. And then some 2 months later he came in again, and I said, well, have you been to the urologist? He said, no, doctor, the minute after I saw you and you examined me, the pain disappeared. Hasn't returned, and therefore I didn't bother. So, and this was in fact a case where the doctor is actually working, not consciously using the method of SahajaYoga, but the method of SahajaYoga is working through him. Another one is where a man came to me with a simple, I'm stating very simple cases, which every doctor here can utilize, and they're varied. SahajaYoga and Srimataji's vibrations can be used in every disease known to mankind. A frozen shoulder. Simple, painful, frozen, can't use it. Came to me hanging like this, and I examined him. Now, I don't use SahajaYoga in every case of my allopathic practice. Some people aren't ready for it. So, in this case, what I did, I injected the subacromial bursa in case, that would be helpful. And again, I saw this man not immediately after, but some months later. And he came on a completely different thing. And he said, oh boy, I'd forgotten what his initial problem was. He said, oh, by the way, you know that shoulder that was frozen? About 2 or 3 days after that, I felt the pain, which was here, slowly going down the body and coming out through the leg. And I was able to move my hand, my shoulder freely subsequently. Now, this is not due to an injection. Injected thousands of shoulders, or hundreds, perhaps, not thousands. And this is not a simple case of allopathy working. The pain and the problem actually went down the canal system, which is well known to SahajaYoga, which can be explained to you, and this person was alleviated of quite severe symptoms. Another case of renal failure. A lady had just had a loop put in for dialysis, and she looked, of course, quite sallow, as they usually do. Looked quite bad. I thought, yes, let's try and work on the problem. Put her in salt water and gave her several of these, gave her realization, and then tried to clear the problem into the salt water. All these things can be explained to you. Her renal function improved on blood parameters, creatinine and urea. They went down significantly. She didn't have to use that loop for 2 years while I was observing her. The funny thing about this was that her daughter 16-year-old daughter, some 4 or 5 days after the treatment, got acute glomerulonephritis. She, in fact, got an acute, I might say, infection of the kidney. And this is again something which is not particularly known, but you might say some problem may have jumped into the girl from the mother. And this relationship should also be recognised by the doctors, that we are dealing with a collective, a society. We are not separate from one another, whether it's in a family or in a society. And I would like to conclude there. I've become very aware that what the power of collectivity is. Russia has given this awareness that it is a great strength, it's a great power, and it's the feeling of togetherness manifests, grows in this great system which Sri Mataji herself has brought to this earth. Thank you.
I know you have a lot of material with you, and I'm sure that our friends would like to hear more about it, but we shall do it later on. I'm very confident about it. Shrimati, with your permission, I would like to share a little experience in Russia myself. Dr. Bogdan referred to the connectivity experience. Catch a train and go to Leningrad. We were supposed to do the same after another 2 hours, but the way we were thronged by the people around us, it was a sight to see. Somebody would catch hold of our hand and put it on his head. Another one would catch the hand and put it on his stomach. And after a little time, we would hear a word, Khorasho, Khorasho, and Spasiba. And we learned later on, Khorasho means fine, very good, and Spasiba means thank you. Those who were having pain in the stomach, their pain got relieved. Those who were having migraine attacks, their migraine disappeared. In fact, we were the most shocked of the lot. And you will not believe, we literally had to run with the tail between our legs and run from there to be able to catch the train, or else we would not have been able to participate in the programs in Leningrad. Now these are miracles, what we call. We are all aware of this factor, especially in the medical sphere, that the brain potential is utilized only 5%. What about the 95%? I'm sure the Lord didn't put it there for it to lie as such. So if we have to develop this 95% of potential to work actively, then one track which has been opened by Sri Mataji is the central channel, making it connecting with the all-pervading and letting the subtle primordial energy flow within us as the Brahma Shakti, as the pure primordial energy, nurturing our 350 million nerve endings in the brain, our 1,000 cotyledons in the brain, bringing about this spontaneous coordination in every situation which we come across in our day-to-day life. And that is why Mother says, SahajaYoga is not a religion, it is a way of life. Through conscious and thoughtless awareness, how we live in this balance so that we live happily, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and in any way that we desire to live. In a nutshell, this is what we have learned at her feet. She wants to create gurus. The gurus in the world want to create chelas. But this is one person I have seen who is asking everybody to become a guru. Now that really enamored me when I came to SahajaYoga. Everybody likes to become a guru. I'm sure you like to be a guru too. But the only difference is the disciple of the guru is oneself and nobody else. But I share with you a very small experience of, in all humility, how the positive vibrations, when it comes into a human being, improves your surroundings. Mother, I don't think I've told you, in a Rotary meeting out of all places, one industrialist friend of mine, looking very worried, came up to me. I was talking to somebody. He just held my hand. I was talking to the other person for the next 3 or 4 minutes. After that, he just pats me on the back, says, "Thank you very much. I'm feeling very relieved." and walks away. So I cornered him later on and asked him, he says, you talked about SahajaYoga at the Rotary and you mentioned about vibrations. First time I have realized that when a person is in balance and the vibrations are flowing through him, it's only the reception which has to be wakened up in the other individual. And as I was very much keen to be relieved of it, I felt so relieved, for which I have to thank you. So Shivataji, I have to thank you for this. Thank you. Now, we come back to India. We have amidst us a doctor who has gone through a very, very serious experience himself. And today he is sitting before you after having suffered a paralytic attack about which I'm sure he would like to tell you, and how SahajaYoga has helped him to be where he is, so much so that he is working 18 hours a day, and not for just making money, but to do Sahaj work. And he has instigated me that since 1 year I have started to follow him suit. He is doing work in SahajaYoga and nothing else. That doesn't mean that we have lost our knowledge of the medicine. I am referring to Dr. S.C. Nigam. I'll request him to say a few words.
How will it sound to you? Very nice. And the moment you know about it, you'll try to give it to others immediately so that nobody suffers. My case is like this. Luckily, my old friends are sitting here. I used to enjoy my life before coming to SahajaYoga. I had a very good practice. All of a sudden, one morning I was shaving and I had a severe paralytic stroke in the year 1980. And I completely became invalid within 5 seconds. Evening before, I had my glass of beer and I used to enjoy everything. You can say, I'm sorry to say to Mataji, that's the fact. And all of a sudden I became invalid. Immediately I was shifted to All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I was kept there for 1.5 months. Every single investigation was carried out. And all my investigations were absolutely book picture, absolutely normal. They could not diagnose what was the reason of my stroke. And for 1.5 years, every day I would go to medical institute for a physiotherapy. After 1.5 years, they said, Dr. Nigam, it's your bad luck. That's all I can say. At that time, I was on crutches, strings on my shoes, and I was not able to even eat anything because my tongue was paralyzed. I couldn't speak properly. The condition was so pathetic. Truth was this. At that time, nobody wanted me to sit next to him. It's a fact. The condition was so pathetic. By this time, I had lost all my money, everything. But you say, tan man dhan from all the angles, I was a broken man, absolutely a born case. So much so that one day I thought that now being a medical man, I knew that I'm not going to recover at all. So I thought there's nothing left in my life, so better finish it. At that time, somebody told me, some SahajaYoga. Why don't you try SahajaYoga? Being a medical man, to begin with, I knew that once you have a paralysis, and that too it lasted, it was with you for 1.5 years. Now you are not going to recover because the nerve cells, if they die forever. This is what we know. And if somebody has to recover from the stroke, naturally he recovers within first 6 months. Then the recovery is very, very little because all the doctors know about it. I had already gone through for 1.5 years, so I was in a very bad shape. And when somebody came to me and said, why don't you try SahajaYoga? Believe my word, on the very first day, when I did this practice, I slept very well. On the very first day. So it actually, mentally I was not going to believe it, but it literally made a dent on me that there is something in it. It was my good luck that Srimataji came about 2 weeks after this incident, and I met her. The moment I saw her, I started weeping tears. And she said, "Don't worry, everything will be all right." At that time, I had nothing. No money, no physical thing. Mentally, I was absolutely gone case. I couldn't believe at that time. But believe it, since that day on, she has given me self-realization, only self-realization. The rest of the things, they are within us. We do not know about it. There's a power within us about which we do not know. She gave that, she enlightened that power, and today I am standing before you. It's just like this thing. I've discovered something, suppose if I say I've discovered something which can cure cancer. Today I can say with authority, I've discovered something which can cure any disease. Since I'm living in Delhi, and I would very much like to be with you, you just give me a telephone call, I'll come to you. You give me your patients, I'll work on that. We want to show you that this is a science which is prevailing at this time and which works without any charge. This is a living process, as the doctors have said. All that we have to tell to us that this is prevailing there. It is a good luck for us that Shri Mataji is here. Believe my words, I repeatedly say it is a good luck. Because the science which she has told to us, to begin with, it is very difficult to believe it. We say we cure the cancer with 3 candles. Can you believe it? Only with the expense of 3 candles we cure cancer. We have cured, we have got cases, registered cases from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, from Tata Memorial, and there is a gentleman standing behind you, Mr. Arun Goel. He was to, in fact, he came to me in 1985. Come forward. He is a man here. He is an architect. His condition was that at that time he was getting 21 bottles of blood per month. 21 bottles of blood per month. And he was at the verge of absolutely, nothing was left on him. He was a pale man, absolutely. Couldn't eat, couldn't shave even. Because he starts shaving and he starts bleeding, then nothing will, nothing can stop it. And today he's standing before you, he's running a full center in Dehradun. And he's working a whole, he's an architect, he's a very big architect in Dehradun. And he's working for SahajaYoga. Just like that thing. Once a doctor gets it, he only wants to just give it to you. I just want to tell you one thing. The government all over the world, governments all over the world are spending billions and billions of rupees and dollars on these drugs, on alcohol and smoking. I only want to know, is there any medicine to cure these persons? No. This we all know. But still we are spending billions of rupees. Come to us. We have given a list of the centers. Come to us. We assure you, we will never ask you not to leave smoking. We will never ask you to leave drinking. Come to us. The alcohol will leave you. The cigarette will leave you. It is such a great thing. The only thing which Mataji does is, at the base of the spinal cord, there is a triangular bone, you can see there in the chart. There lies a subtle energy which is known as Kundalini. She awakens the Kundalini. The moment the Kundalini is awakened, all your physical, mental and psychological problems are solved. Because it brings you into balance. This is the greatest science on present day. So my dear friends, I will only request you, don't let this time go a begging. Try to utilize this time. I am here, there are many more doctors here. They are all out for it to help you, to assist you. But please give a thought to this new dimension, new era which is going to come before you. In all this picture which is written, a time is going to come where no doctor could be needed, no hospital could be needed. It is written by in Bhagavad Gita. Now the time has come then, that time has come. So by using very simple techniques, you can cure any type of disease. So come forward and just with open mind and open heart, listen to what Shri Mataji says before you today and try to take the best benefit out of it. Thank you very much. I
I may just issue a rather a lighter note towards it. I'm sure when he says that we want to close all hospitals, that this is the present company excluded, because it will take quite some time before everybody comes into sense. So you will be able to make your living, you don't have to worry about it. Now, we come back to medical research, and in 2 minutes, because time is really running away, as we have amidst us a doctor from Canada, Dr. Ram Misra, who is the professor of psychiatry and biomedical sciences at the McMaster's University, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. He has been dealing with research projects dealing with mechanisms involved in the action of antipsychotic drugs and anti-Parkinson's disease drugs. He has been practicing SahajaYoga in medical science for the last 4 years, has written certain papers, and it's very interesting that he tells me several psychiatric patients have been taken off the neuroleptic drugs, and several anxiety patients were treated without medication. I would request Dr. Ram Misra, in a very short span of time, just to throw light on the medical research that is done.
I have been given only 2 minutes, so let's see how we can do both in 2 minutes. See, I'm a neuroscientist. I don't believe in Kundalini going up and this and that. When I first Shri Mataji, here it is. Every answer to the question was there. Now, when you go home today, try to ask yourself from all your medical books, scientific papers, anything you want. Every drug you give to patients, antihypertensive, beta blocker, alpha blocker, antipsychotic, and prolactin, all hormones, anything. All these drugs combine with the receptor, and that receptor always makes sound membrane loops. You can see under the electron microscope. You can do any kind of biochemistry, whatever you want to do. Why there are sound membranes in these receptors for all these drugs? Try to find out the answers. Why not 9? Why not 6? Why not 8? Why not 5? And here is the answer. You will get the answers through the SahajaYoga, but not through this intense medical research or whatever books you want to purchase, whatever research papers you want to. But think about that question. It will come over and over in your mind. Now, the second thing is that we talked about the beta endorphins, and you know, beta endorphins are integral part of the blood, produced from the pituitary gland, comes to the blood, and plays a major role in several of these disorders, psychiatric, cardiovascular, immune system. The list is enormous, and you can manipulate the endorphin levels by not only SahajaYoga, but also through several other techniques like the Chinese technique called acupuncture. The patient suffers from the pain, he goes to the clinic, you punch the needle, the endorphin levels goes up, you relieve the pain, he comes back home, the endorphin levels goes down, the pain comes back. And you keep doing this over and over to the extent that at the final stage you insult the system so much that the acupuncture becomes useless. Same way you do other kinds of yogas, TM, you can manipulate it to some extent, but you cannot maintain the steady state levels of the endorphins unless, at least in my experience, I have taken 20 SahajaYogis, like we asked them to meditate for 20 minutes, and 20 other people, and we put the music in their ears, and we took the blood out, take plasma, and look at the endorphin levels. And there was 50 to 60% increase in the beta endorphin in the people who just meditated for 15 minutes. Now, as one of the doctor was saying here, that you work on the other people and your system gets cleared. So the next experiment was on the person who were giving the vibrations to the other people. That is, he was working on someone else, and his endorphin levels were also up. You see how it benefits both? You are benefiting the other guy, as well as you are also getting the benefit from the same technique. So now, is it 1 minute over? Or so I'll tell you one very complex case, okay? There was an 18-year girl in Toronto. She was on Haldol, you know what the Haldol does, treat patients for 10 years. A young girl, 18 years, having 1 or 2 or 5 kilograms of haloperidol every day. There was no way out for her. And Shrimataji gave the program in Toronto. She was there. She came in December to India, and it's almost 4 months. She hasn't seen the haloperidol at all. And this is not one case, there are several cases. I was visiting Calgary last 2 weeks ago, and they just opened a WHO center for research. And the SahajaYoga, some of the Sahajayogis, now some of the doctors are now introducing this technique to use in their clinic to supplement their medicine with this yoga technique. That's the technique. So in the West, it is getting so much recognition. And it's still, I'm a scientist and you are doctors and this and that. When we hear something like this, we still have our skepticism. But on the corner, we still always talk about the Kundalini and this and that. There must be something. But when real power is there, we still try to keep our eyes closed. I don't know why. I think this is the greatest gift given by the human, to the human, for the human. This is the gift given by Shrimataji, which you cannot purchase, you cannot pay, and this is the greatest gift for mankind, I think.
I'm afraid I had to tell him because I thought I was so close to him. I had to do it in quiet, but he let the secret out. I know him very well. If I took the liberty of telling him to cut himself to 2 minutes, where I told the others 10 minutes. My apologies, Dr. Desai. I'm sure, friends, that you must be wondering that we all doctors have been talking, and the doctor of doctors who is sitting amongst us has been sitting quiet, listening to us. We have learned at her feet, and we have taken the liberty of speaking before her.
Here we have many doctors who are Sahajayogis and also abroad. The common point in their quality I found that they had concern and compassion. They were not completely money oriented. They definitely felt that we can, by some method, help the people who are of a poorer class or middle class who cannot achieve benevolence from medical science because it is strictness. One of the qualities I find. This compassion has led them to think about Sahaja. Sahaja is holistic in every way. Today, if I put a hypothesis before you, as scientists you must keep your mind open and listen. And as Indians I would say, it is your heritage. It's not coming from abroad. It is coming from your country from ancient times. To say that I founded Sahaja is not correct. Sahaja has been there since long, and everybody has preached about it, talked about it. All the Nathpanthis have talked about it. Nanak Sahib has said, Sahaja Samadhi. So it is not that I have found the method or the technique of it. But if something has done in modern times is this, that now self-realization can be given en masse to thousands of people at the same time. But it's true about every discovery. If you have electricity now today, first it was available to only one person. Unless and until you make it collective, it has no meaning. The another thing, which I don't think they have referred to at all, that in evolutionary process, now, this is the last breakthrough of human beings. In the human awareness, whatever problems we have, but there is a higher awareness in which all these things that they have described is absolutely possible. As we can understand in medical science, we have not been able to solve many questions and also answer many questions. I need not go into details of that. Especially the parasympathetic nervous system, we do not know anything about it. But with SahajaYoga, you know each and everything, not only that, but you can master your parasympathetic. What you can work out is only your sympathetic, at the most, in the emergency. But with SahajaYoga, you can master your parasympathetic and you can work it out. So what happens is, it's like this instrument here is here. Now somebody says that if you speak loudly, people won't hear, but if you use this instrument, it will work. For a lay person, they will think, how can it be? It's just a funny sort of a looking thing. How can it work? But once it is connected to the mains, it works. In the same way, unless and until we are connected to our mains, we are not understanding ourselves. And that's why there is so much difference of opinion and difference of understanding. So it is very important, first of all, to be connected to that all-pervading power, which I call as the divine love. Now when I say that, you need not believe it. You need not believe these doctors also. But there's something like a hypothesis before you that there is the all-pervading power that does living work. Now for example, the fetus is placed in the womb of a mother. Anything foreign that enters into the body is thrown out. The nature of the body is such. But why the fetus is kept there, looked after, and at the right moment is thrown out? Who does that job? Now here you see the flowers. See these flowers of different varieties come out of different shoots. Who does all this work? Who does this living work? Who pulsates our heart? If we ask these questions, there is no end to it. These all can be answered after you have realized yourself. So, this connection takes place because of this type. You see the triangular bone, which you call as sacrum. Of course, in medical science also call it sacrum. Means the Greeks knew that it was a sacred bone. Otherwise, why did they call it sacrum? This sacred bone has this 3.5 point energy within it. Now, in the practice of SahajaYoga, you can even see the pulsation of this bone, actually like a heart. In some people, when there is obstruction, when it is trying to push, then you can see it with your naked eyes, you can see that. Not in everyone. Now, when this power passes through these different cells, it nourishes them, it coordinates, it brings them together, pierces through this alternate bone area, and then connects you to that all-pervading power, which is the power, which is the vital power. It has electromagnetic force in it. It has got what you call the prana. It has got the power of the mind. It thinks, it understands, it organizes, above all it loves. It's hypothesis, again, don't get frightened. It is that. The second truth about you is that you are not this body, this mind. This intellect, ego, superego, you are not that. Because you always say my ego, my heart, my body, my. You don't say I, the body. So which is the I? Which is the auto? Again, we will say. Who is the auto? There is something, and that is the spirit. So what you are is the auto, is the spirit. These are the two truths I put before you, and you have to verify it. As I told Dr. Rai, that you should verify it. Don't believe it. Whatever I am saying, you can find it. Now, we have the knowledge of the roots in this country, while the West has the knowledge of the tree. So, treat the tree according to the symptoms. Like there's something wrong with the leaf, you treat the leaf. Something wrong with the branches, you treat the branches. But that's not going to cure the whole of that tree. You have to go to the roots. And that's what it is, that you have to become the spirit. so that the whole body gets all right. Now, another hypothesis I put before you is this, that there are main 7 centers, certain centers which are 7 of them. One of them is below the Kundalini and 6 are above it. That's why they say SahajaYoga. Now these are the centers, basics, mulas, which look after our physical, mental, emotional, political, social, financial, also spiritual. If you see clearly, without any offense to yourself, all the problems of the world are mostly because of human beings. And all the problems of human beings are because of their chakras. So somehow, if you can cure these subtle chakras or put them right, all our problems can be solved. As simple as that. Now this is a hypothesis. Again, I'm not saying you have to believe it. Hypothesis. Now these centers, on the medical side, we have plexuses. Only on the, we can say, the physical side, we have plexuses. But also it has a mental side. English language is funny. See, mental means the left side. But actually the right side, that you see there, the channel, looks after our physical and our mental program. Body concerned with our intelligence and our vichar and all. And the left side looks after emotional side. Now only the question of cancer I may little bit tell you. Sorry, I'll come back. I'll tell you about only one chakra first of all. It's the yellow chakra you see there, called as Swadhisthana, which moves around that void. This is the one which is responsible for producing or manifesting aortic plexus, but that's only on the physical side. Now how much work this poor center has to do? We have never thought that when we think, the energy we use in our thinking, how it is replaced. Thinking energy, from where does it come in our brain? We are using our brain all the time, but what is replacing it is this center. So these centers, you know, the brain is made of fat cells. This center converts the fat of the stomach for the use of the brain. And that's how, it's a great hypothesis, I'm telling you. That's how those who think too much go into imbalance. Futuristic people planning everything, plan this, plan that. Most of the plans fail also, but they are planning all the time. Thinking too much. All that leads to one crisis if that person becomes imbalanced. In the sense that this poor center which has to do other jobs also. It has to look after your liver, it has to look after your pancreas, it has to look after your spleen, your kidneys, and part of the intestine, large intestine. So a person who thinks too much, is very right-sided, futuristic person, first problem can come from his liver. In the medical science, I don't think we have much knowledge about liver. Liver is by which we live, I think. It's a very important organ in the body. So the function of the liver is to absorb all the poison of the body and convert it into heat, which passes to the bloodstream. This is the function. Simple. In simple words. I am not using any medical terminology. Simple one. So now when you start thinking too much, you neglect your liver. When you neglect your liver, poor thing doesn't know how to do this job. So the whole heat is saturated in the stomach. The person has heat here, then the heat starts passing upward. When it passes towards the heart. We call it right heart. In the medical science there is no right heart, but we have a center of right heart. It creates a problem. And that problem is called as asthma, simply. This heat can also pass to your throat. Also, it creates a kind of a cold which always flows. You sneeze 20 times in the morning. All that sort of, there are two types of colds also. We have two types of things. We have one lethargic liver and one is overactive. So this is, I'm talking about overactive. Because such a person is overactive. So he develops this cold, sneezing, this temper, anger, anxiety, tension. आपका जो आजकल चला हुआ है. All right. Then this heat passes over. It can go to heart at a very young age. Supposing there are boys who are playing tennis or some sort of a rigorous game and drinking. This might affect and can have a massive heart attack at a very young age, which can be fatal. Now, the same heat, when it passes to the throat, you develop throat trouble and you get hoarse throat and all kinds of problems. Goes all right. Now when it moves down, say to your pancreas. Poor pancreas is also suffering because it has no energy from the center. So a simple disease a person like that develops is diabetes. Too much of thinking gives diabetes, nobody would be. They think that too much sugar gives diabetes. No. In our Maharashtra, if you have to have a tea properly, the sugar should be such that the spoon must stand at right angle. Otherwise it's not tea. And nobody gets diabetes because they are villagers working in the morning, nicely sleeping down in the night, not worrying about tomorrow, how to do this, how to do that. Only the people who are sitting on their seats and planning, thinking, also worrying, get diabetes. Now diabetes is curable. They say in inheritance also it is curable. By putting this at the time. Then the third thing I told you is even more dangerous, is the spleen. Now, nowadays the life is so funny that it cannot be congenial to the working of the spleen. Spleen works, as you know, whenever there is emergency, it starts producing more RBC. That is simple as you know. So what happens that, supposing the morning is there, read the horrible newspaper, Bombay blast, this, that, immediately the spleen starts working. Then you don't eat your food properly or breakfast properly, just hurry up, somehow or other eat something, get into the car, cursing all the people on the way because of the jam. Reach the office where the boss is angry with you and absolutely you are in a mess now and poor this thing is walking. She doesn't understand the craziness of this man. How am I to produce RBCs? When am I to produce? This craziness makes it vulnerable to blood cancer, the leukemia. Because she is so crazy, she doesn't understand how to react. Now what happens that, this is supposing, I'm telling you, is the spinal cord and these are the centers. This is the left side, this is the right side. Now, they go on working, extracting energy from the center. It gets exhausted. Suddenly something will happen. Some sort of a shock on the left side, because you are working the right side. So it breaks. When it breaks, the connection with the whole is lost. And that's how you become magnet. The brain cannot control anymore. So they take over. Now the left side is also a very mysterious thing which will shock you. I don't know if I would be able to speak today about it. That's quite a mysterious thing is this left side, about which there is no knowledge in the medical science. Now, so this trouble of leukemia comes in. Then it goes to this heat, which coagulates people. You cannot pass urine. Even urinary bladder would be like that. Now you get this kidney trouble, you put on the dialysis, poor man dies, a bankrupt. Dies, no doubt. Nobody lives out. It is fact. Dialysis has not cured anyone so far, I know. It just makes them live longer and longer. I mean, it's a fact. So he dies. Then also it goes down, as I told you, in the lower portion. And sometimes you do not feel hungry because of the liver, plus you feel constipation. And constipation can be of the worst type that people get, that all their lives they end up with edema or some sort of a somatic. So these are the common diseases which will be facing all such people who are overactive. Now, the another thing that was about paralysis. Paralysis also one gets. Now, of course, I don't know if they believe that the brain has double functions and the left side works differently than the right side. But in Russia, when doctor came and asked me this question, I said, he does. He said, should I mention your name? I said, you mention my name, but it's done. Absolutely. The left side is very different from right side. Now, you can see clearly, now see the yellow one, that goes to the left side. It's what we call the bicep. And the left side goes to this side. Upward. They cross over at optic chiasma. Where at the optic chiasma there is a very important center which we call as Agya Chakra, which looks after your pineal body and pituitary. Now when these two cross over like that, you see, they form a gap which is the limbic area. And this limbic area gets closed with these two balloon-like structures which we have produced by overactivity or by over-conditioning. So what does the Kundalini do? She goes up to this Agya Chakra and sucks in these two. And then she pierces through your fontanelle bone vein. Thus you become one with the all-pervading power. No question then of getting tired. Now I'm 70 years of age. When I travel, if you ask them, if you see my travel, they say, Mother, how do you do it? I said, I do it because I don't do it. I'm sitting here as I'm sitting there. I never think I'm traveling. I never think. That's the best part of it. And everything works out. Because you are in connection with the divine power, which is the most efficient government, I should say. The most efficient brain, intelligence, and works so fast. As doctor has said that instantly, I know instantly. So quick that it understands. Now the best part of it that you all have this Kundalini with you. And she is your individual mother. And all what you are, she has recorded within herself like a tape recorder. And she is very anxious that you should get your second birth. And she manages the show. Once she does that, just like a mule in the sea, how it pierces down, we have never thought of that. Supposing at the end of the root, there's a small little, very small little brain or a cell which knows which way to move. It will go into the soft corners, and if it is hard, it will go round it. We try to establish anchorage for the future tree. All these things are in that little cell. In the same way, this Kundalini, when she passes through, what she does, these chakras which are undernourished, she pushes them down, nourishes them. Some of them which are dislocated, she pushes them back. And the complete nourishment starts coming within you. This is only the physical side of it. Mentally, you should know lots of mad people have been cured. I don't want to give instances of how many people have been cured with SahajaYoga because the number is so great. But you can write to them and find out that people have been cured. Angina, heart troubles, hypopnea, but even AIDS. Now, Dr. Ramzan was asking me whether tell me about AIDS and I will do some research. So let him go into research and then we'll have next session, I hope, next year. Then I hope we'll be able to do. But after taking to SahajaYoga, at least you will not feel sick. You will never get it. Seldom. If you get it, maybe some reason. But it can be easily corrected and at least you'll drop out 10 years, if not 20 years. Feel very energetic, healthy, and also very sweet tempered. The best part of it that you start enjoying life. Enjoying others is a very great thing that should happen to all of you. I am so happy today, you have no idea. Because I wanted to study medicine at least a little bit to know what doctors talk about. And when I saw that, I felt at that time even all these terminologies were not there, it's long time back. But I was thinking, they're so ignorant about how am I to talk to them? How will they listen to me? They see everything on just superficially. How will I talk to them? How will it work out? But I got these doctors all over the world. We have a doctor from Japan also. We have doctors from Russia. In Russian doctors, there were 300 doctors sitting before me. And I started with medical science. They said, no more medical science. Because they have lost the last bit of it. No more medical science. Tell us about the divine science. Same with the scientists. Surprisingly, they were introspective. And they have realized that the end of these things have gone, we should get something more. Now, one thing is, it is your heritage, it is your own, and it takes hardly any time for you to get yourself managed. The credit is yours, not mine. Because there are so many seekers born in this Yoga that is surprising. As he says, it's correct, that in every program we had nothing less than 16 to 18,000 people in Russia. And they are such beautiful people. Now, this is our own knowledge. I told the Russians they had some American doctors. I said, why don't you tell them SahajaYoga? Why should we? This is our secret. Why don't they listen to you? We'll not tell them. I too felt first that Indian doctors know it first. Now, as far as money is concerned, as he was saying so, that doctors might be worried that they may lose their things. Actually, there are very, very few people who really come to SahajaYoga in a way, percentage-wise. So all the rest are for you, especially the very rich. There are some very rich people who like to have the authority of doctors, so they enjoy. But SahajaYoga is really, today for India, is such a blessing. You know what is happening in our villages. How people are dying, there's no help, and this will solve. It has many other dimensions. It improves so many things, apart from your behavior and all that, the agriculture and everything. So many things are done. This is not the time to talk about it. But one must know that you are glorious, you are great. It's all within it. You have not come on this earth just to waste your time, but to enjoy the kingdom of God. May God bless you. And short sight can be improved very easily, I've seen it. But other things, you see, SahajaYogis become very negligent about themselves. They take it for granted. Tashma has to Tashma, does not. But if they can pay little attention to them, they can get cured. Doctor is sitting here, he can tell you how his eyes were cured.
With your permission, Shivadi, I'd like to tell Dr. Vashni that I have undergone 4 eye operations. I have had detachment in both the retinas. I have had the cataracts removal. A stage had come and I had moved around from doctor to doctor, and being a medical practitioner in the city myself, I was a guinea pig amongst the hands of all doctor friends. And ultimately they came to the conclusion that I was going to get into a stage where there would be changes taking place and ultimately land up in blindness. This was about 10 years ago. When I came to SahajaYoga, I was a very despondent man, very angry with myself, and the net result was that I was being prepared that practice gone ahead, I wouldn't be able to see anything. I would not like to go further into details. I tell you, I drive my car at night now. So this is the benefit of SahajaYoga. Just having this number has been put, as you know, because I have had the cataract done. Now cataract is, as you know, dead tissue. And dead tissue cannot be revived because this is a living process. And with the living process, you can undergo changes to revert them to their normalcy. Cataract has to be removed, and hence, in spite of putting in another soft lens, etc., as you very well know, certain amount of correction they leave with the diopters in the form of glasses. That's why I've got glasses on. Thank you.
Moreover, on this point, I'll tell you one general principle is this, that we have to accept our age. Very important. We all cannot be 16-year-olds. This is American idea. They are breaking their necks and breaking their waists with that. So we have to accept and be proud that we are old and we are matured. And because of the atmosphere that you have, the kind of pollution you have, all these things affect your eyes. I would say that, say, my grandfather never used glasses, but my father did at a much later age. But my own brother started using it at a much younger age. The reason is, the whole place is full of fumes and things, and especially the people who live in the city have to face it. It's quite a nice protection, and also is important. Many things we have to do as we grow old, and that should be accepted. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's not that we are getting old as if we are some patients. We live very good life, very sensible life, and we lead a very healthy life. The main thing is that you do not suffer from any serious illness. I don't think wearing spectacles is a disease by any chance.
I'm a doctor in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Mataji, in your yoga treatment for angina or heart disease, do you only advise yoga, or you also advise some exercise, some asana, pranayama, or some more precautions to be taken by the patient, like reduction of the weight and all that? Or it's simply the control of the chakras?
You see, first of all, if you become a surgeon, you don't get heart trouble first, without a heart. Now supposing somebody has a heart. Now we have two types of heart trouble according to surgery. One is a lethargic heart and another is an overactive. Now the lethargic heart is angina and all these are lethargic heart. And the others are these massive heart attacks and others. These are all due to overactivity and things like that. So we have two types of treatments for that. Very simple. Extremely simple, and it works. Don't have to do much about it. It's a very simple thing which if you go to our centers they'll tell you it's very simple. There's nothing to be worried about. Moreover, I think we have a great advantage in India that people don't mind whatever type of medicines you are practicing or yoga you are practicing. But in America, supposing we start practicing yoga there, I'll be arrested. But people from America come all the way to England to get treated. So, just to understand, see, this is one of the chakras, of course, which gets you into trouble. But how to get it corrected, that's all you have got. And if you know how to correct it, finish.
No dietary or other...
No, nothing. Diet also we suggest according to the prakriti of the person, nature of the person. For example, the person who is overactive, thinks too much, who has liver problems, this should have carbohydrates more. The one who is left-sided, you see, always indulges into emotional side and who is sad also, because the right-sided persons are very plain. He should take to protein. It is depending on the prakriti of a person. So it has nothing to do particularly with the heart, but with the person. And you will be surprised that Heart also gets cured in no time. I mean, we have had Mr. Mehrotra from Pune. I mean, he had a dad. He was standing there, and I had to go somewhere else, and I said, now come here just to test the room. You are here. He said, but I'm the Sanjana, I've been following you here and there, I said, come around. In 5 minutes, you see, he got a little pain there, and he got quite upset. I said, you're cured now. How can I believe you are cured? I said, you're cured, believe me. No, I can't believe you. You are leaving me because all doctors leave the patients who is going to die. I said, I'm not. Now I'm leaving you. Now better go and show yourself. He showed himself to the doctor. He said, you are all right, what have you done? Then he went to another doctor. He said, you are all right, what have you done? So he said, now should I go? He was going to Houston. I said, now if you want to waste money, you can go. But if you do not want to waste money, just try for it. He's perfectly all right. Now it's how many years? I don't know. Huh? He's still living at 80. Now another, you must have heard the name of Rahul Bajaj. He is also another overactive person. So I knew his father very well, and then he came to me. So and told me I had a very massive heart attack and this and that. And I said, all right, it's nothing serious, he'll be all right. So I treated him. He got all right. Just about 5-10 minutes only. He got all right. I said, you are all right. He would not believe me. I said, you go and see your doctor. He went to doctors, they just go, this, that. They said, you are all right. I don't know what you have done. The doctor was agree with him. He said, we don't know how you got it. You've got a good heart. But still he wanted to go to Houston. He came to London. I was there. He met me. I said, now Rahul, if you want to waste your money, then go. You have a lot of money. Better waste it. But otherwise, you are all right. He went there. Dr. Puri saw his heart and he got so angry with him with all the doctors of Bombay. He said, why you have been taking my time? I have no time. And said all kinds of things. He came back. He told me, mother, I wish I had listened. It's perfectly all right. He's working for us. So I'm just giving one or two examples of heart trouble. It is nothing serious.
You only, so it takes only some few minutes to cure that thing.
To me.
I think scientific control trial in any of your centers,
It doesn't take much time or so with others, but I would say that they will all become like me very soon. All of you will become like me. No problem. But you will also not take too much time. It's very simple, very easy.
thank you.
Yes, please. I am a practicing dermatologist. There has been no talk on reference to the skin disorder.
Skin comes from liver, sir.
So all the skin is a little bit.
You have to cure liver, that's all. And certain type of oils and things you should avoid. And we can tell you all about dermatology. Every subject can be covered. Because, you see, as I told you, these centers look after our complete physical.
Yes, Mataji, exactly. Nothing has been told about how you practice this thing.
That is what there's no time. But you come to our center. You see, we are humble people. We do not take any money. We have very humble places. We don't have huge big palaces and things like that. Extremely humble places where we have our center, and we are very. There is a list of things here, so many, and any place which is close to you, you can see them. And they may not be doctors also, the ones who are there, but they know about surgery. You need not be a doctor. Please, gentlemen, just a minute. Just a minute.
I have no doubt that SahajaYoga and physical yoga, they can certainly help in harmonizing the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, both, that is the autonomic nervous system. And probably that can help, probably that does help in preventing so many diseases like heart disease and other things. I happen to be quite unfortunate, say, nephrologist, and I am treating those patients mostly cases of end-stage renal disease, where dialysis and transplantation is the only answer. But that will just be temporary, and as Mataji rightly pointed out, that's not a treatment, and that just gives palliative therapy to that. What my reservations are I don't know, till I am convinced, I go almost back it, that a patient of end-stage renal disease, even say we are ready to agree, even say 10 to 20%, because some people are having acute renal failure or acute element, they will definitely get cured by anything by time itself. But by any yoga, whether it's SahajaYoga or physical yoga or mantras or anything, that can put this disease into, I say I will go a further step. I'm not talking about those people who are already in graveyard and they're going to die. Our mother feels that they may not die because of that. That is really wonder. If this SahajaYoga, even if it can help in prevention of progression of renal disease, I think that this is now really a wonder in the world, and that is the greatest gift to the humanity. But I have to be convinced, in the sense that a lot of my patients are taking SahajaYoga. They have died during the last 2 years. And I being follower of Mataji for last nearly 1.5 years, I met her personally also once, I'm trying my best that whether the school learning or other things, which I am doing otherwise also physical yoga and other things for last years since my childhood. But I have not yet seen, and I want to be very, very, very clear in this. I don't know whether some of my patients are sitting here, but Dr. Banerjee is chief hospital student of Railway Office. His wife is a medical specialist of Railway Office. He is right now unfortunately suffering from a disease which is in our terms incurable, and that is progressive systemic sclerosis. Here is a person, only I can realize how much trauma he is undergoing and how much trauma the poor patient, that doctor, who is such a brilliant girl, a brilliant lady doctor, she is undergoing the when she knows all about the disease. There are many more, and many more. When I just joined this SahajaYoga center or go to the audience, many of my patients are sitting there, they're questioning, I never ask them questions. All of them I have seen one after the other dying. I just come to conclude one thing, that after all, it's all right, nobody is eternal. Somebody has to die at some level. But once I see the young people dying, this is really, and when we can't offer it.
In SahajaYoga?
No, yes, when they are doing, madam, even SahajaYoga, when they are on our dialysis program.
A dialysis, they do. If you are on the dialysis, then you can't help it.
Oh, okay.
That's it true. Once you are on the dialysis, we can't help it. If you come before the dialysis, we can help you. You see, there are certain limitations to everything. And secondly, those who are treating also should know it perfectly well. That's very important. Because supposing you are a right-sided patient and you are given the treatment for the left side, how can it be cured? That is, people should, you see, understand it, learn it. I can tell you this point, that in SahajaYoga, so far, I have not known anybody who has died because he was doing SahajaYoga. One thing. Of course, some are not cured. I mean, like every person, we cannot guarantee that he can be cured. But many are, no doubt.
Madam, if you don't mind, then can I ask question in terms of percentage? Even somebody can quote, or I can say supply 100 patients. If somebody says he can have been cured.
Why don't you try yourself, doctor?
Madam, I am trying. I am a SahajaYogi. I am SahajaYogi, I am doing my best whatever I can do for myself.
No. Have you recorded it?
No, I am really worried about those people.
No. I think you should record the way Dr. Spiro has done it. Get 100 patients. Record it, find out what's the matter with it systematically, and then let us know. Because as far as I know, so far, those who have recorded properly and have tried to find out the percentage, I don't know we have worked it or not, but I don't know, Dr. Spiro has worked out percentage. And that's how you can then realize. But you see, if you want to do it, then what is the best is to get 2-3 people together, use some doctors, also to get 100 people together, see what are their troubles are. Now, Mr. Khanna's problem, I know I can see that. He is unconscious, she's unconscious.
I am telling Dr. Mrs. Banerjee, she's not fully conscious, she's fully conscious. She's on dialysis now. But let us say she's a doctor and but I will try and say, okay, let us say now, this is another point which you have cleared yourself, which other SahajaYogi do not clear it, if you feel that the people those who have already reached end stage in the disease, they can't be cured, But the people those who are just at the birth, I can tell that this is a person who is going to go in remission after 3 years, definitely. And 80% chances he is going to, I know today. When I see the patient, then I know that what I am going to tell this gentleman after 2 years exactly. When let us say I had seen Dr. Mrs. Banerjee when she had come to me over 2 years back. At that time she was just a hale and hearty doctor. But I knew at my heart that this is what I am going to face after 2 years. But if SahajaYoga can prevent at that stage, there was a preventive stage.
Yes.
Then it could have been prevented
Before dialysis.
Yeah. I am telling you much before dialysis, not only before dialysis. I am talking that patient after all, that is the end part of it, Majority of our patients are coming when I know that this gentleman is going to be renal after 10 years, this is going to after 18 years, why is the of this statistic, And this is he is going to go into renal after 2 years, Majority of dialysis patients, let us say, anybody who has got dialysis nephropathy by virtue of proteinuria today, then 90% chances are that within 3 years they are going to be on dialysis, whatever you do. If they are not following certain principles, they will be on dialysis very soon. But I am saying if the medical nephrologists, so-called, if they are very qualified also, every precaution they are going to take, they can't prevent, they are going to dialysis after 3 years, A diabetic patient and who just lost proteinuria today. That is what I want to say.
It's just 1 second. I think you made your point. If you'll be kind enough, let's hear what...
Doctor, I know you very well.
Just
And for your information, you only came once. And I don't see you in any of the centers attending SahajaYoga programs. You only came once and that's all. You can't call yourself as a SahajaYogi. I mean, but still I'm telling you one thing. You bring those patients who are in early stages, we will definitely like to work on them and we'll show you the results. We have got cases, for your information, we have got cases which you can see yourself. It's very difficult to explain you here among these people.
I tell you. So we are not here to cure this. One thing for sure. We are here to make you doctors who are perfect doctors. Then, supposing there is a patient. Now take one patient who is ex-patient suffering from something. Take it. Now, what do we do? At the most we can give that person a realization. But one of his relations must be given a realization and should be told how to look after that patient. Sometimes you need really intensive care for some time. If that is not done just by giving one realization, you are not alright. This is the point. It's like as you take medicine, you have to take to SahajaYoga medication. And that medication hardly takes 10 minutes. And about 2 minutes in the morning. Just 10 minutes. But because it is so free, so easily available, people just don't do it. They don't take it seriously. But for the doctor, you have to pay the money. See? You pay. Once you pay, you know what it is. And that's how you are serious about it. I've seen people who are cured, they again get sick, again come to me. Today I cure one disease, another disease there. So why do you not meditate? But if a doctor gives the medicine, they will be religious. The wife also will see that it is. But as far as certain medicines are concerned, they are not so bad. Worst is the case of AIDS. I was so disappointed. There were 6 people I cured of it. Perfectly alright. They were quite normal. Then what happened? That 2 of them took to the same style of life. They could have people. 2 of them said that mother we don't want to live. Finished. Only 2 are still existing. And one of them goes to the doctor and he tells them that the cells are still there. The dead cells are there, which you can see in the gut. So he gets into Parkinson's sometimes. But he's living like this for 8 years now. Going strong, he's put on weight and is perfectly alright. But when he goes to the doctor, they say there are still some cells. So he gets it. Now, the thing is that SahajaYoga is so easily available. There's nothing to be paid. So people don't take that seriously as they should. And that's how sometimes they get cured. Sometimes they do not get cured, and sometimes even if they get cured, they get some other disease. It's a common fact. I know somebody who has come to me 8 times. I was so fed up with that gentleman. But he would not do meditation. If you have 5 minutes more, I'll tell you what does the meditation mean.
What they want. They want to know how to meditate.
Now that they will tell you later. But I'll tell you what does the meditation mean. It's very simple thing to understand. We are either thinking of the future or of the past. We live in the future or in the past. But supposing I say you stand in your presence today, just now, you cannot. Between the two thoughts, one thought rises, another thought rises, and between the two thoughts there's a little space, which in Sanskrit called vilapa. Little space, that's the present. But it is so short that we cannot catch on it. We jump on the cusps of these thoughts all the time, sometimes in the past, sometimes in the future. We are never in the present, and the present is the reality. The past doesn't exist, finish, and future doesn't exist at all. So, now how to come to that point? When the Kundalini rises, what she does, she pushes these thoughts on the sides and makes that vilamba much bigger. So the first stage to achieve is thoughtless awareness, the vichar samadhi, as described by Patanjali. Absolutely without thought. You are completely aware, but you are absolutely without thought. This is what the meditation does. And then you rise spiritually. Adhyatmic pragati manifests only in reality, which is the present. So now see, these flowers are here. Now these flowers are beautifully made and all that. Now if you are a normal human being, you think, oh, I have to take beautiful flowers these are, and how much should I pay for it, are they insured or not, all kinds of things will come into your head. Or else you might think these are my flowers, oh my God, what's going to happen to them, all these things. But a person with a realized soul will just watch it, a witness, a sakshi. The beauty, the joy that is in that creation will just abstractly start growing. You feel so relaxed. But just watching, not thinking, just watching. Sakshi Soka. And that's what the meditation does. Because people don't meditate. We can't help it. At least for some time, if you meditate, then you will not sleep without meditating, because it's more than taking a bath, more than any other energy-giving, joy-giving source. Until you enjoy yourself. That is the state where then you become into another state which we call as nirvikalpa, where there is no vikalpa. At that stage, then as this doctor is saying, that one has to reach that state, and then it works. So I am telling you here, we are not here to cure the patient's problem, by no means. Of course it does. But we want you to be perfect doctors, to control the parasympathetic, so you can really help the patients. And you can